All right, welcome back, students. In this video, we're going to cover Station 4 from the 2026 Geometry EOC Bootcamp. I believe I'm going to split this into two because of how late it is and just how many problems there are. So this thing goes 11, 12, 13 and 14. We're going to do 11 and 12 in this video. It's part 1, and the other 2 pages for part 2. It'll be either tomorrow during school or tomorrow after school. So I'll try to see if I can't talk my folks into being quiet and letting me record something. So we'll see what happens. All right, so got a lot of benchmarks here. We're kind of short on time, so I'm not going to go over all those. I recommend you look at them. We're just going to go right into practice. I'm going to put it so we can see all 4 of these. Matt might not have to adjust at all. We'll see. All right, so number 1. Aisha is building a fence around a circular field used for barrel racing at the rodeo. If the radius of the field is 45, so just put R equals 45. About how many feet of fencing will she need? Well, to go around, that would be circumference, which is 2 times pi times the radius. So circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. So that's 2 times pi times 45. That's 90 times pi. So 90 times pi. Well, so that's 282.7. That's what, feet, yeah. This is linear feet because this would be if you traveled around it. All right, so number 2, find the length of the arc. So arc length is L, AB to the nearest 100th. All right, so to get arc length, so remember that circle is always 360. And we're figuring out how much of that. So 75 degrees out of 360, that's how much of the pi we're dealing with, and we multiplying it by the circumference because we want to know arc length. So that's 2 times pi times the radius. That would be 75 over 360, and 2 times the radius, in this case 2 times 4 is 8 pi. So what you do, we got 75 divided by 360. So that's how much of that, the percentage of this guy. And then we multiply it by 8 times pi. And we get 5.235 that we're going to round up to because it said nearest hundredth. So our length is 5.24, and these are centimeters. Because this is linear, so it's just the unit. All right, down here. All right, so it says JK is the diameter of circle C. So this guy. What's the measure of BK? Okay, well, we'll just do it like this. So JK is the diameter. Probably went over the line a little. I apologize. Not great inside the circle, inside the lines coloring. Not as a kid, and not really good at it now. But, so the diameter splits that circle in half, right? So that makes this guy 180. And it also makes this guy 180. So BK, arc BK is 180 minus arc JB. So that's 180. I'm sorry, 180 minus 138 180 minus 138 means that arc BK is a mere 42 degrees. Yeah, I ended up putting JK in my notes. I don't know what that was about. All right, so now they want the area of the shaded area. All right, so in this case, we know that the area of the entire circle is not 2 pi. It's pi r squared. And then we're going to multiply that by the angle in this case. So this is a central angle, so these match. If this was an inscribed angle, if it went all the way back here, it would be double. The angle would be half of what the arc is. So this will be 80 over 360. We got the radius is 4, so 4 squared is 16 pi times. So I hope you understand this radius. So 4 squared is 16. We still got pi. 80 divided by 360. 0.2222 times 16 pi. All right, so 11.17. That is the, and I don't know how we rewrite that. It's the area, but it's the sector. So it's only this little bit there. And it's feet squared. Okay, we'll flip over. So do page 12, and then 13 and 14 will be for the next video. These are little, not difficult, just, you know, working on time. So, all right, number 5. So the diameter, circle W, is 48 degrees. So the diameter would be all the way across, but W to Y, that is the radius. So it's half of 48, so it's 24. Okay, now it says the diameter of Z is 72. Well, from Z to X, that's the radius, and that's 36. What else they tell us? They tell us YZ is 30. So from Y to Z is 30. And from Z to X is 36. So it makes XY. Is that what it's asking for? No. The XY is 6. And then if WY is 24 and we subtract 6, they want to know what WX is. WX equals WY minus XY. I'm going to put over here XY is 6. How do I know that? Well, because WZ, I'm sorry, XZ, that is the radius of circle Z. It's half of 72, which is 36. And then they told us that this part, YZ, was 30, so I can assume this is 6. That's more of an assumption. All right, so WY is 24. And we know that XY is 6, so WX is 24 minus 6, which is 18. I know that's a little bit much, but, you know, just do your best. All right, for this guy, solve for X. What you end up with, so we're going to end up with AO, so this guy times OB, this guy, is going to equal CO, this guy, times the other part, OD. You see that? So, and we'll scoot it over. So say AO is 10, OB is 2x, 2x minus 1, and then CO is 3, and OD was 2x plus 3. All right, so let's distribute. 10 times 2x is 20x. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. And then 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 3 is positive 9. Subtract the 6x from both sides. These guys cancel. 20x minus 6x is 14x. Sorry if I'm too far away from the mic. Try to stay closer. So we got 14x minus 10. And then over here all we got left is positive 9. So we're going to add the 10 to both sides. We got to get... So we got 14x here. The 10's canceled. 10 plus 9 is 19. Divide both sides by 14. In this case, x equals 19 over 14. That does not reduce down. So that would be your answer because they also said solve for x. All right. So got 4 more. So glad I split the video up, even though we could probably... How many more? Now there's 6 more on the next page and 2. Yeah, no, we're gonna stop it at the end of page 12. At the bottom. So number 7, Michelle and Sean are visiting a garden. The garden contains a circular area, and the fountain is at the center. Here at F, has 2 separate congruent walkways, AC and AD. So these guys are congruent. Michelle's at point M, so she's right here. And Sean's at point S, he's right here. How far is Michelle from the fountain? So, all right, these guys are congruent. We know that these perpendicular bisectors of those are congruent. So that puts MF congruent to SF, which makes 4x plus 2 equal 6x minus 4. We're going to solve for x, and then they want to know Michelle to the fountain, so they want to know MF. So subtract the 4x from both sides. These cancel. You got 2 left. 6x minus 4x, 2x minus 4. Let's add the 4 to both sides. So 2x is going to equal 6. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 3. All right, so plug 3 in. So MF is 4 times x. X was 3. That's 12 plus 2. That's 14. So Michelle is 14 units. All right, number 8. Super easy one. So ABC is circumscribed about circle J. Find the perimeter. You can't hardly see it, but I promise it's perimeter. So something about these, when they stick out like this, so you'll see this guy over here sticks out. I'm going to make him the same color. And this guy up here, he's sticking out, and he is going to be the same color. And it's because each of these portions are going to be congruent. Then over here, see, it's gonna... I'm just going to make it the same color. Or, you know, they're all different from one another, but I made them a solid color.